Good day. Thanks for joining us. My name is Stephen Davids, and in this video I will describe the process flow when changing from paper forms and you want to put your paper forms into Google Docs, specifically Google Forms and Google Spreadsheets. The first step is to learn more about Google Spreadsheets and Forms. Learn about its limitations. For example, there's no direct document uploads to the forms and file uploads to the forms like you can do maybe in a program like Mindshift. But although there's a way around it, there's no relational databases. There's no live interactive form where you can type in something and then easily go back and see what did you type in, and maybe also change what you put in there. There's no unique record numbers where that records are automatically numbered, although there are many roundabout ways to go about and deal with these limitations. There are no query forms. Look at the potential. Google Forms has a lot of potential. It's easy to use for the developer. Get your quick results. It's web-based and it's live in real time. In order to learn more about Google Docs, I downloaded tons and tons of videos from YouTube, as well as documents in PDF, which I then saved. And I took a considerable time to get familiar with these various functions of the product. The reason is because I would say this can be regarded maybe as the most important phase, because you want to design a product, maybe you know a little bit of what Google can do, then you learn more, and then immediately you change your design in your head, and from that you get a much better design. So take your time to get acquainted. And the reason why I also, when I save a product, I put it in a PDF file, was because a PDF file, then you can also get the website and the URL where you retrieve the document from, and it is then very easy for you to go back should you want to inquire more. Be very realistic. Remember, Google has a lot of functions and capabilities that you will not need, may not need, and you can get drowned in all this massive data. So look at specific scenarios that you may encounter. In my specific case, I needed a database for learners. I needed unique numbers for staff and equipment. I needed timesheets, logbooks for vehicles, and operational health and safety checklists. So given my needs, I then look for specific solutions that I can use. And in my case, I had to look at specific functions, query functions, array formulas, how to combine text from text and time, pivot formulas and pivot tables to interpret massive data, workarounds for unique numbers and how to touch files. I had to look specifically at add-ons, and add-ons are very important because it can help you some of the weaknesses and shortcomings of Google Spreadsheets. As with everything, you use the add-ons that suits your situation best. I also have to design a specific sort of practicing file. And in this practice file, I then put in specific fields that suits my situation and scenario. I had to do with people's names, last names, maybe asset numbers, addresses. So I used got these names from MS Access's famous Northwind database that I adapted for my local situation and usage. I added, for example, email addresses, URLs, and postal codes. This file I use to test functions. It is very important that you have where you can play around and practice functions. The next step requires a very important mind shift, where you change your total attitude and realize that you're not busy working with paper forms anymore, but you must break out of the mold of paper forms and get into the electronic system's potential to exponentially improve the record system that you are busy producing. For example, you can combine forms. Previously, we had one forms where people booked out assets and another form that they filled in when they returned the assets. However, using the electronic system and capabilities of Google Documents and spreadsheets, we can have one form and just have a field where you select documents in, documents out. Another example is that you sometimes need to combine and rewrite columns. Instead of having a field in the column where you set the condition of the asset when it is put out, and another column to describe the condition of the asset when it is returned, you can simply have one column and just name it condition. Another thing is that you can split columns. Instead of maybe on the paper form it is name and surname, you can now have one column for name and another column for surname. You can combine registers. In our case, we had one register for operational health and safety issues and another register for security issues. However, we discovered that the inputs into the forms are more or less the same, such as date, what happened, small description of what happened, who are involved, and in view of that, we combine the registers into one form and call it an incident register, where at the very start you have an option to select if it is an operational and safety issue, or alternatively, if it is a security issue. Another principle which we applied is that we rather preferred small or compact forms instead of big forms such as, for example, a timesheet. So in our timesheets, we then preferred rather inputs per day and daily inputs. Something else that you can keep in mind is that some timesheets have time durations. For example, the person worked 1.5 hours or 2 hours or whatever the case may be. Take advantage of what Google offers. It is possible to put in the exact time and minutes that the person worked. Also use array formulas to autofill data such as ID numbers, sums, and other calculations. If you want Google spreadsheets to autofill data, the only way you can do that is by using array formulas. Because using an array formula means that when a person submits a form, on submission, some fields are populated immediately. Another useful feature is the mail merge, and you can use that to immediately notify people who submit forms, perhaps if someone registered. Use these features. Remember, sometimes it is better to have some information in a spreadsheet format, because having them in Google form format may be too cumbersome, and the information that is requested is too much. Take your time in transforming the paper forms into an electronic format. There are no holy cows, and do not fall in love with your paper forms. I know you have done a lot of work and put in a lot of effort to create your paper forms. But if you want really to enjoy the benefits that the electronic formats can give to you, then you will have to be very hard on yourself and when interrogating and transforming the paper forms into electronic form. The next step is to design the electronic form. For this, we mostly use pencil and paper, and in conjunction with that, maybe the table formats in the word processing programs such as MS Word's table, but mostly we use the spreadsheet program of MS Excel. The reason why we use pencil and paper is because you can easily erase it if you make a mistake. It is also very good to show relationships. Sometimes I do it so quickly, it's only me who can understand it. But it is very important that you start with a design. And I find it easier because if I go directly to the electronic form, it is for me somehow, I just struggle there. So first design it, and when you design it in a program like Excel, in Excel you can also then move things around, which you also can do in electronic format. I personally find it easier to type a list of options in Excel, to order them, to spell check them, and then simply to copy them and paste them into Google Forms. The rest of the steps I will not cover in much detail because many videos exist on these topics. The fourth step is to input your design into the Google Forms or spreadsheet. Step 5 is to customize the spreadsheet that Google automatically generates. Maybe you need a column to calculate and sum a few columns. Maybe you need array formulas to create identification numbers. It all depends on your circumstances. But customize your spreadsheet according to your needs. Step 6 is to make your spreadsheet user-friendly. We freeze the header row and sometimes also the first 2 or 3 columns, especially in a spreadsheet that is wide and vertically stretched out. Some of our forms, such as the operational health and safety checklist, is arranged thematically. A person comes from outside and see if there is a ramp for paraplegics. He goes inside, he looks to ventilation and checks things off. It is very easy on a paper format if and when you can quickly flip things around. But sometimes on a tablet or on a small mobile device, it may not be so easy to do things thematically. Then we arrange the elements alphabetically. The next step is about security. You will have to lock some cells so that everyone does not get access to it, and some cells are protected, perhaps formulas, or the content of those cells, and sheets. Thereafter, you also have to look into the file sharing. Who has what rights? Thereafter, you pilot the system. Ask colleagues, employees, family or friends determining and depending on your situation to test out the forms that you created. Based on the feedback you get from your pilot, you then correct whatever is wrong or improve the forms. As your data come in, you will need to analyze and retrieve them. The query function is very valuable because it enables you to see selective data. You can determine in a big spread out spreadsheet to only view certain columns based on your query input. When you need to analyze further the data, pivot tables are very valuable and they are mandatory if you want to make the best of your data and mine them deep. Thank you very much for watching this video. We welcome your constructive criticism and comment. Please like this video. Thank you very much.